Greetings all, Ferrari Man 601 here. Welcome back to Flight Simulator 2020 and welcome to Reagan, Washington International Airport here. We're on runway 1 and we have got the Icon A5, which is an airplane that is designed to be the plaything of elites. It's pretty useless at any serious flying, but it is amphibious, just like most of the elites. What are we doing here today? We're going to go see the sights in the most elite city in the world, Washington, D.C., filled with more cesspools than you can shake a stick at. But if you shake a stick at them too hard, you'll get fined. So, in the cockpit of this thing, yes. As I mentioned, a fairly useless aircraft. I do not like it. It's slow. It's not that maneuverable. It's way too easy to fly. Perfect if you're some sort of weekend jet setter who doesn't know what a jet is. It even has an emergency parachute in case you really mess things up. We've got our fuel on. Yep. And our master on. And if I have done my dead reckoning correctly, the National Mall should be not terribly far off of our roughly 12 o'clock. And yes, we can see we've got an obelisk dead ahead at about, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock. So that's fine. Full tank of fuel, 20 gallons on board. And suppose get some lights on and start the engine. Clear prop. There we go. Right. So engine's fired. We have basically no information about it other than the oil temp is into yellow, the oil pressure's into green, and the water temp's into green. Got some flaps out to 10 degrees, if it actually is 10 degrees. Let's set our trim for something that's not nose down. Oh, it's actually not nose down. It's nose up, but I want to trim this thing out to be pretty neutral. We'll play with it as we're flying along here because it takes 900 years to go anywhere in this airplane. Parking brakes released. Throttle up. And let's see what the Flight Simulator guys have done in their modeling of Washington, D.C. in the USA update, which hit several weeks ago. And a rudder deflection here, but there's 55 knots, and we'll rotate, and we're up. I have no rate of climb indicator. Trying to gear up. And we'll bring the flaps in. There's 70 knots, and we'll be getting the ATC from Reagan to tell us that we're clear of the airspace. Right there to about our 3 o'clock position, that is the Pentagon, yes. Why is it called the Pentagon? I have no idea. Couldn't possibly have anything to do with the geometric shape of the building. Alas, that's where it is. Actually doesn't look all that bad. Pretty nicely modeled, at least from a distance. Obviously it's a custom building. I actually quite like that. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, of course, if we were doing this in reality, we probably already would have been shot down by several million fighter jets. But as we're the only airplane in the sky for our purposes, it's fine. Not too bad. Heading over to this section here, we start to get into Arlington and the Arlington Cemetery. which we can dive down and take a little bit of a closer look at. And I'm also led to believe that all of this is heavily restricted airspace, because this actually is the only bit of ground in DC that I don't have any criticism for. Get some speed back up and we'll head into the area of the National Mall. Take a look at some of that. We will trim down a little bit to neutral. All right, good enough. And the Potomac. Right here off to about 2 o'clock. There is the Jefferson Memorial, I believe. It's not the right shape. Or is that the Lincoln Memorial? If it is the Lincoln Memorial, it is the right shape. If it's the Jefferson, it is the wrong shape. We'll confirm that later on, I have no doubt. Let's see, do we have Abraham Lincoln sitting inside? We might. I actually can't quite tell. Modeling of all this is actually not half bad, considering I'm not running at anything near the full settings of this. Cannot determine whether or not we have President Lincoln sitting inside there, but he might be. And back out, the big obelisk-looking thing. Of course, that is the Washington Monument. And this has been a big improvement over the initial build of this sim, because initially the Washington Monument was nothing more than a 50-story tall apartment block in this section. But now we can absolutely see that it is the Washington Monument without doubt, replete with the circle of flags at its base. Flags are not flapping in the breeze, but they are outstretched in a position reminiscent of flapping in the breeze, so I'll take it. And the building is actually casting its own shadow. Pretty good. Sort of tighten up our turn a little bit. Get the top of it in view. There we go. Not bad. Not bad at all. You can even see our shadow there. About 1,000 feet high. Come back down the National Mall. Keenly aware that we are overspeed for our flaps a bit. That's okay. And of course, front and center is the Capitol building. Big reflecting pool where there are no doubt anti-aircraft guns installed. But I'm not supposed to know about that. And there is the Capitol building. Nicely modeled, utterly recognizable. That's all well and good. Of course, both chambers of Congress meet here. All of the foreign aid that flies in the face of the consent of the governed is distributed from here, supplied by tax money, which is collected here. You see, very important place, the Capitol building. It's flying pretty much east here. Back to the other bank of the river. I haven't the slightest idea as to what this stupendous looking structure is. Looks like it's a stadium of some sort. Wouldn't happen to know, however. Appears to be a baseball stadium. Rendered flat, though. 3D object rendered in 2D. Hey, welcome to computer simulation. I'm attempting, at this point, to locate the White House, which I was led to believe was in line with the other buildings on the National Mall. Not seeing it here, though. Is that a security sort of thing that they decided to quietly implement in this game? Maybe. maybe, maybe. Regardless, though, we do have some pretty impressive visuals. Or if we fly north from the Washington Monument. There we go. Let's make sure we clear the Washington Monument, because that would be bad. There we go. And there it is. They call it the People's House. If the people get within 5 miles of it, you start to get under very heavy surveillance. And if you're flying over it like we are right now, well, you get to have a very, very intimate meeting with some firepower. There we go, the South Lawn. It's where you get all of the stereotypical state visit shots and whatnot, and then the north side of the building is where most of the utility functions happen. Not bad. Of course, you can get a helicopter on the lawn there. They often do. Oh, look at this. Social commentary in Flight Simulator, have we? Look at that. I got to pull out of the side slip there, but you can see it. Yep, it's there. It was done in the tail end of 2020, amid a summer of protests and the like. Actually, rather impressed that they managed to include that in their USA update. That's a very recent development. Of course, it would be visible from the air. And yes, that is the Lincoln Memorial. You can confirm that. The Jefferson Memorial is going to be over here on the other side of this little lake. Where I think we should attempt to land. I'm going to come in from the other direction here so we have a little bit more room to slow down. Remember, amphibious airplane. Landing gear is retracted. Let's dive. Just gonna bleed off the speed and come down. There we go. Right. I am quite sure that maneuvering like this in reality would have capsized us, but we were running out of lake there, so we have to turn around. There we go. Right, so where this nondescript warehouse-looking thing is, that would be the Jefferson Memorial. It is not there. But interesting nonetheless. Going to extend our water rudders. Get a little bit more maneuvering back here. Yes, those would be the steps to the Jefferson Memorial. Not modeled. Very interesting. That's not a bad shot, is it? Pretty good. Right. Right, so I am going to shut the engine down here. We'll just let the thing drift to a stop. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, this would undoubtedly end us up with a, I don't know, 50-year prison sentence, something like that, but not bad for our purposes here. I do have to say I like the lighting, how it reflects off of the waves here, and obviously the wave action itself looks pretty cool. And with the airplane bobbing up and down like that, yep, definitely get the sense that you are on the water. Looks good. Looks real good. Bridge over there doesn't look so convincing, but the rest of it, not bad. Nice diffuse sunlight. Some ice high in the atmosphere, no doubt. Cool. Very, very cool. So once you are done eavesdropping on the federal government in your elite plaything, we head back to where we started from, I suppose. And that oil temp dropped quick. Tend to believe it's not entirely accurate. Now, how far are we from that far shore? We've definitely got enough time to get it in the air, though, at full flaps. We'll do that. We'll raise our water rudder. Confirm that that's up. And we'll fire while the throttle. We'll get her up, and we're up. Right, let's get back to where we started.
Washington Tower, FMAT 601 Heavy to land.
FMAT 601 Heavy, Washington Tower. Enter left traffic runway 1. Altimeter 29er, 2 wind 281 at 7.
Alrighty then.
Fly left traffic runway 1 FMAT 601 Heavy.
Yes, I have the heavy call sign appended to the tail number because we can. Let's say left traffic, make a left base turn, That's going to take us directly over the Pentagon. How about that? Slipways there for the boats in the marina. That's cool. Be a real short final, quite obviously. Fine by me. About 1,800 feet or so. There we go.
Cleared to land runway 1F Mat 601 heavy.
All right, wind is 281 at 7, so we're going to be getting ourselves a bit of a left crosswind. We're going to be landing in a roughly north direction. We'll just do a bit of a diving turn to base. Get a lot of our altitude bled off here. Hold that dive in through our turn to final. Looks like we started a tad early. We'll square it up once we're more or less lined up. All right. Tighten it up a tad. Right. All right, so we'll square it up. And our flaps coming out, so we start to bleed off more speed. Come down to full flaps, and we will lower to gear. Gear down. Right, about 3,000 RPM. We'll continue to throttle it down. There's 53 knots or so coming in. It's a whole lot different than an airliner, I'll tell you that much. Let's see. Idle. Settle it down. Getting the ground effect float. And touch.
F-Man 601 heavy exit runway when able.
All right. Got to turn off here. We'll take it.
F-Man 601 contact ground on 121.7.
Roger.
121.7 F Mat 601 Heavy.
Right. So I have no intentions to taxi to parking. So I'm just going to stop it right here because we can do that. All right. And we're stopped with the parking brakes applied. Bring our flaps up. Engine stop. We will shut our fuel off. Didn't need the emergency parachute, which doesn't work anyway. I don't think the sim can model parachutes, at least not yet, if ever it will. And that will just about do it. Cool. Right. Right, so back on the ground, parked in the middle of the taxiway, bringing the rest of the airport's traffic to an unceremonious grinding halt, as we can only hope the people in Washington will have to do. But, yeah, there it is. USA Update with Washington, D.C. on this Inauguration Day. Until next time, I do hope that you've all very much enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. Ferrari Man 601 saying thanks, and of course, we will see you soon.